live stream. Okay, this is an emergency. All right, you have to watch this live stream and watch it fully. Okay, you do not want to miss this. This is very important. All right, we have a huge announcement, and the huge announcement is we're going all in with AI, but not in the way that you think. We're doing this differently. Okay, so last night I was talking to an old coworker. To be honest with you, he used to be my boss. Now he's actually CTO at a major company, Fortune 500, which is funny because I don't use LinkedIn, and he has sent me a couple of messages before, and I never check my messages on LinkedIn. Right? I don't know. It's not my platform to go on. Okay, but we hop on a call and we spend like 3 4 hours talking. Okay, we're going back and forth. We're talking about everything, just life, career, you know what's going on with the industry, what's going on in the world, what's going on with AI, what's going on with the layoffs, all of this stuff. Okay, now what's crazy about this is, right, he used to be my boss back in the day. Like I said, now he's a CTO in a Fortune 500 company. Pretty big, right? It's always good to have a plug, yo. Sometimes I don't know, bro. Sometimes I think I'm just a little random dude with a hat on, but shit, I know a lot of people in big places. But shit is crazy, man. So we was talking about how the industry is changing, all right? And I give you a great example of this. The industry doesn't need junior developers no more. It's a wrap. It's done. Finito. Okay? Now, I'm saying this to you guys not to discourage you, not to say, well, you don't learn how to code, don't learn how to do development, like that's it, give up on life. No, 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 no. What I mean by this, right? And he explained this to me perfectly, right? Back in the days when you need to build a web page, right? This is the hierarchy of it. You have a senior level developer, right? Maybe some system architect, etc. Right? CTO. They in a sense they come up with the solution of whatever application it might be, whatever feature it needs to get done. They're the one that architect this thing, right? From there, you have the mid-level developers, which are guys that are experienced enough but don't have all the responsibilities that the guys that on the top have. And then you have the junior level developers, okay? And this is just for any type of entry level position. Your job is to do the grunt work, the stuff that doesn't make sense for the most senior developer at the company to go and do because he got bigger problems. And the mid level developer might not want to do it because he's also, busy. Okay? Excuse me, I got a little cough. You guys know that. Okay? But the junior level developer, the entry level position, the person that's starting from the bottom, that's starting from scratch, his job is really to be support. Think of it as a basketball team. There's LeBron James, there's, I don't know, whoever is in the team, right? There's a couple of guys, Shaq, let's say Kobe, Shaq, and then there's Derek Fisher, okay? Kobe is the senior. Shaq is the mid-level. Derek Fisher is the junior level position, okay? But everybody's needed at the time. Now, everybody plays their role. But it gets to a point, especially now, where we at, that you don't need a junior level developer because you do have AI to do that work. Back in the days, the junior level developer will go in and build a landing page, or will go in and fix a couple of bugs, or will go in and create a feature that's simple enough, right? And maybe somebody else has a lot of stuff on their plate, and that's the role for the junior level developer. That's his job. That's what you will get into a company for. It's the same concept. Let's go into the legal system. This is where he blew my mind because he's 100% right, right? In legal, right, in a law firm, you have the most senior level lawyers, right? The guys that have all the prestige, the guys that their name is at the top, the Morgan and Morgan, right? But there's also a bunch of other lawyers. And then below that, there's paralegals and people who just graduated from college that are now lawyers. Usually they will go in and do the grunt work. They will do the research. They will go in and get the contracts, or, they will, do this disposition, etc. Right? This is how he explained it to me. But now with AI, those entry level positions are no longer needed. Those entry level roles, they're not needed because I don't need you to do grunt work no more. Okay? I don't need you to do the grunt work. I could go in and use Claude for that. Okay? So now, once you understand this and you understand how this thing works, right? How do you get a job straight out of college? How do you get a job, you know, by just taking an online course, right? How do you get a job? How do you get in? Like, what's gonna happen? I mean, if we don't need junior level developers, like, what the hell is gonna happen, right? Remember years ago, I told you guys we was in a golden age where literally anybody could get in, get a job, and ta-da, you got a job at a company. Okay, those days is over. It's a wrap. Okay, the same way how there was a point where, back in the days, all you needed to know was jQuery. You don't even need to be an expert in JavaScript. Just jQuery, the most basic thing, in HTML, CSS, and you could get a job as a front-end developer. Shit got a little bit more harder. Now you need to know front-end frameworks, right? YUI, Angular, React, right? Vue, etc. Right? And you needed to learn all of the skills. Every year, for you to get a job, more skills get stacked up that you need to learn. More things that you need to have to be able to get the job. If you was here 2017, you could have gotten in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React. Easily, you could have gotten a job. In 2026, that shit is over with, okay? And this is also, too, why a lot of people are struggling to even find a job, right? Because, like I said, even for mid-level, senior-level developers, sometimes you think you got 5 years, 10 years in the game, and you think you are at a certain level, but in reality, you just have a lot of years in the industry. Doesn't mean that you're at a higher level compared to other engineers, right? And some of these people that got laid off, they're struggling to find a job. But you can actually get a job now. But the problem is, guess what? Now you got to stack up another layer on top of it. It's not just, well, I know how to code. That shit is done for. A lot of companies are now also, too, going away from, doing the leak code interviews, okay? That shit is done for. There was a lot of guys who got into companies just because they could pass the leak code interview. That shit is done. Finito. That's why you see all this new graduates straight out of college, straight out of a university, and they're all crying on TikTok because, man, I got 8 months, I got 10 months, I got 12 months, and they're trying to find a job opportunity. It's like, there's no more jobs. No, there's jobs. It's just that now is an extra layer on top of it, okay? And yes, let's talk about, and we're going to get back to what's that layer. So please stick around, watch this whole live stream. And if you want, you could come in and rewatch this again later on if you don't understand what I'm telling you as we're speaking. Okay? So going back to what I was saying, right? So you have all of these new layers that it's on top of the career. Okay? Now, there's people that's struggling. They can't get into the position. And it really comes down to the fact that we don't need junior levels no more. Like any junior level, entry level, like what used to be entry level, it's now automated. We don't need you to do that. All right. We need you to go in and be at a higher level, meaning that you have to now skip the level of junior. You might even have to skip the level of mid-level. You might even have to skip the level of a senior level, okay? I know, sounds scary, right? Because you're like, man, this is why I hate this industry. I gotta constantly be learning. I gotta constantly be doing all this shit, right? That's the part that sucks about the industry. It's like it's a never-ending thing where the industry changes and you gotta keep up with it. Okay, so going back to what I was saying, right? So now that you have these couple of levels that you have to completely skip, right? You have to not only know how to code, but understand every part of the business. Okay? Every part. Remember when people would be like, yeah, man, I just want to be a front end developer. Yeah, that shit is done. Yeah, I just want to do the back end. Yeah, that shit is done. Okay? If you really want to stand out here, you're going to have to take it up a notch. Okay? I know, and this is going to scare you a little bit. Okay? Excuse me, guys. I got a cough. But this is the scary part. Okay? You're gonna have to know every piece of the business and how everything works so you could be actually be employable, right? For a lot of the new roles that's popping up. That's just the facts. It's not just I'm a front end developer, I'm a back end developer, I'm a full stack developer. No, you're gonna need to know the whole shit now. So yes, you know the front end. Yes, you know the back end. Yes, you know the full stack, right? How to work with all of these things. Yes, you know how things work with like AWS. Yes, you know how to work with Kubernetes. Yes, you know how marketing works. Yes, you know how design works, right? Like you're gonna have to know all of this shit, okay? Because that's what companies are looking for, especially when you're trying to get into the big companies. Like I said, my friend is pretty high up there, okay? And he was explaining all of this to me. And he's like, yo, I've been watching you. I like what you've been doing. It's funny. I wish I could say the person who it is, but I don't know. I don't feel comfortable putting his information out there because he did put me onto a lot of shit that maybe he shouldn't have put me onto. And I don't want to go in and talk about it and then people connected to his company. I don't want to jeopardize his what he has. But he basically broke it down for me, right? Yes, we're gonna need lawyers. Yes, we're gonna need developers. But we're gonna need people that actually know how the whole shit works. You can't just show up. Again, I'm using like the law firm as an example because he broke it down to me exactly like that. We don't need paralegals no more. That shit is done. Okay? And yes, it's scary. It kind of sucks because it's like if you went to school and you're like a paralegal, what do you do now? Well, now you got to be a lawyer. And a lawyer that understands every single side of the industry, in the industry in the law, in a sense. Okay, that's how you're gonna be able to get a job as a lawyer, not just like, well, I know a piece of, the law, right? And for developers, it's the same shit, unfortunately, right? So now you have to know how all of this shit works. It's not just I know how to code. That and I told you guys this shit. But I love when somebody else, it's funny because when I say some shit, you see me be like, well, this is Joe, his garage and shit like that. But Lil Billy goes and tells you the same shit, and you be like, yeah, man, he's right. Trust me. This is why I get paid for it, right? And shout out to my friend. Um, he broke down to me, but what was really cool, and I love when I get validated. You know what I'm saying? I love when I get validated and we're like, yeah, I'm doing my thing. Because he goes in like, yo, I've been watching you. I love what you've been doing. I love how, you've been helping people get into the industry, right? But I still feel like right now you're not prepared for the next step, even for your own business, right? And he was like really like explaining all of this to me. And he's like, yo, you now have to take your business and go all all of it in AI. Not how people are doing it online where it's like, oh, let me show you a little thing on Claude Code. Let me show you how this and that. That's not your niche. That's not what you need to do. Your job is to help people get into the industry. The amount of people that are, engineers or people who are already working at companies and got laid off. And one of the main reasons that they can't find a job is because they don't know how the whole business works. And I told you guys this, right? But I love it when somebody that shit, that dude, he a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? He good. Right? But I love when people come in and tell me, yeah, you was right, Joe. So, and what I mean by that is that, you know, remember when I told you guys this about click clacking? It's funny because you guys always talk about click clacking, right? When I say that and y'all laugh, he's telling me, he's like, yo, you 100% right with this. There's a lot of engineers that all they can do is click clack. And we've been saying this. Remember when we talked about like email development, right? And there was people here who was like, what is email development? I've never heard of that. You know why they don't know about this shit? Because they are a one-trick pony. They go into a company, let's say, for example, you graduate as a computer science major. Once you graduate, you go in, you do your leak code, you do this and that, you get a job, and let's say you're working with Java. That's all you focus on, just Java. Maybe you learn a little bit of front end. That's it. But you pay attention only to the technical skills, right? You have no idea how the business works. You have no idea how product features come out, right? This is why a lot of times project managers got to be on top of engineers, because engineers focus so much on the code and how to make something super efficient, but still don't focus on the user experience, still don't focus on, you know, the type of, you know, the reason why this feature is being created, right? Sometimes, and I'm guilty of that. You know, when I used to work in company, I'd be like, why are we building this thing? Guess what? There was a team that understood why we had to build this and why this will help the users. But this happens to a lot of engineers where they only focus on the click clack. Guess what? Click clacking, meaning just being a code monkey, just typing, and that shit is done. It's finito. Finito. When I'm telling you finito, finito is finito. Like, it's done. Okay? Companies will hire a bunch of engineers, right? Because they actually need it, you know, hands on the work. That way, right, the more engineers that you will throw at a problem, the faster it will get done. Okay? That's just how it is. Now, we no longer need that many engineers because we are looking for people that can understand the whole business model and understand how all of these things work together, plus are open to using tools. This is another thing that a lot of engineers are hard-headed in, right? And you'll see it from the old heads, right? You know, they don't want to use the tools. A lot of them. There's some of the, you know, the new kids in town, like, yeah, they're using AI all day. They learning a lot of this new tools. But usually when you have 5, 10 years, 15 years at a company, you're stuck in your old ways. So you want to go in and build things the same way how you always used to build it, right? You don't want to break nothing. You're like, yo, if it's not what is it? If it's not broken, don't fix it. But in this day of AI, you can't be like that. You got to be super open to learn new things. And guess what? Those are some of the peoples that's getting laid off. And then on top of that, when they go back into the market, they still don't have the right skills, because now you might have, you know, 5, 10 years, 15 years, but you only know the click clack. You only pay attention to the technical skill. There's nothing else that you're bringing into the table, right? Companies are now looking for getting a deal, in a sense. Remember when there was this thing going on where it's like, oh, if you're a designer and you are a front-end developer, companies will go in and give you a look and be like, oh, shit, yeah, come in, because, oh, if we need a designer, you could also do Figma. You could do this and that. You know what I'm saying? Now is, yo, can you do everything? So if you understand the whole business model and you can learn how all of this shit works fast enough, and you're open to using new tools, and you're not hard-headed, you're gonna find a job right away, right? But if you're still stuck on your old ways and your resume looks exactly how it was 5 years ago, yeah, you're gonna be struggling out here. Okay? Now, this is like a whole 4-hour conversation, bro. And this is crazy because, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a small business owner, we could say, right? I've worked at some pretty big companies, my old days, right? But I'm not in the mix like that. Meaning that, you know, the problems that these big companies are having, I'm in a sense I'm not aware of it, right? Because I'm not in that space like that. I'm in the space of being an entrepreneur, understanding how to get the first, your first job and all of this stuff. And but as he was breaking all of this down to me, it made me realize, right, why there's layoffs, why people, these companies are cutting 10%. Atlassian just released 10% of the people that work at their company. And the truth is that they're gonna need the extra budget for AI. Ain't no way around it, right? If I got 1,000 employees, right, and let's say I don't know 1,000 employees. Let's say I'm just gonna keep like a random number, but this is $100 million, right? It's $100 million that is gonna cost me to have this payroll for this 1,000 employees. Let's just say, right? I don't know if people getting paid like crazy amount of money, but let's just keep it like that. $100 million. Now there's tools where it could speed up the process, help everyone, not just the developers, but everyone from the marketing team, the designers, right? Even the legal team, the people that's in the higher ups, the project managers, like every single person, every single team, okay, needs to be touching AI. AI is not cheap. That shit costs money. I mean, for some of you guys that might know this, like if you go in and you get the Anthropic, all pass, it's like $200. That's what we use, right? Enterprise level, it costs even more because now you got 1,000, 2,000 users, right? That's a lot of money that they gotta pay for this. So they gotta find ways to then have that extra budget. Now, why do they need to have this extra budget? And why do they have to use AI? Because everyone is using AI. From here on, everybody's gonna use AI. So now, when we used to need 1,000 employees, we might need 700. But then the budget for the 300 that we laid off is gonna allow us to have, in a sense, let's just say virtual, another 700 employees with productivity, with agents, with this, and that, right? So in a sense, you're doubling your workforce by laying off 10 to 30% of your people. And the people that you already keeping, right? Those people, right? Imagine you double your whole workforce. You going in from 700, you had 1,000, you got rid of 300, and now you have 700 humans and 700 virtual. Okay, 700 virtual, which now allows you to be more productive, and it's as if you have a bigger company and you could get more shit done. So, guess what? We going all in AI. Okay, we going all in, right? And the thing that I love about this whole conversation is like 3-4 hour conversation. For anybody that has hopped on a call with me, you know I'm a talker. And this other person's a talker. We're talking for like 3-4 hours. We're catching up. I haven't seen him in almost like 10 years, 11 years. But it's funny because, somehow he watches this channel, and he hit me up like 3 weeks ago just to, say hi and have a conversation with me. But I never answered his message, and I answered his message last night, and we just caught up on a bunch of shit. I got kids, he got kids. You know what I mean? It's crazy, right? I went the entrepreneur route. He went deep into corporate life, right? But God bless him. He's from New York now. He's in San Francisco. He living it big. Okay, I'm a little, but I'm free. You know what I'm saying? I can't complain. The decisions that I've made in my career. Because one thing that he was explaining to me is like, yo, bro, the amount of stress and the amount of shit that I gotta do, like, in a sense, you're more free than me. And I value freedom. I value the fact that I could see my kids whenever I want. I could come outside, do whatever the hell I want to do. I work at, one day I could say I'm tired in the morning. Shit, I work at 6 o'clock, 6 to like 10 o'clock at night. You know what I'm saying? I make my own schedule. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot of cool things. It's cool when you have conversations with people that you know from your past that we've taken different roads, and you can see the pros and cons, right? Now, what I was saying with this is like, he was, even for me, like he was explaining to me like, yo, you've done a lot of things, you've done a lot of great things, you've helped a lot of people, but you are, not that I'm focusing on the wrong thing, but I gotta take it up a notch because this is where the industry is going, right? So that's what we're doing now on codingphase.com. We're going all in with AI. Not in the typical way. Not, hey guys, let's go in and how to go in and generate your image. No, we're gonna go in and we're gonna go and do the same things that we've been doing, career wise, right? Career path wise, but preparing you guys and anybody that comes to Coding Phase for the new ways of doing things and to help you in that process, right? To help you in that process of being ready for these new type of ways of doing work, okay? And, the things that companies actually need you to do, because that's going to be your edge. Your edge is not going to be like, yo, I just know how to code. That shit is done for. You go on TikTok, go search tech layoffs, search I got laid off. It's like 70-80% of the people that got laid off is like they're almost all of them in tech. Okay, and then you go in and you go into their accounts, and then from there you go in and be like, whoa, shit, he got laid off in the summer. We in fucking March already. You still don't got a job. Like, what's going on? Well, this is where it comes down to, right? They still haven't understood that they have to go into the job force with a different mindset. Okay, and I'm dropping a video. I don't know if I'll do it tonight or tomorrow, where I'm gonna call the video software engineers are losing their mind. And we're going to react to a bunch of different software engineers, right, that are literally losing their mind. Like, and the reason that is because, and I see it here in the comments, the main reason that is because they feel lost. They feel like they lost their purpose. I mean, imagine this. Imagine you're like a guy who was like, all you did was all day, working on your skills, sharpening up your skills. Let's say you're a database administrator, right? And you got like 10, 15, 18 years, 20 years that you like a MySQL master, Postgres expert, MongoDB, rock star. And then now AI comes around and AI does the same shit that you do in 10 minutes. Probably even less. And then now you just got laid off. What do you do? Right? Because what you've been, becoming a master in is no longer special. It doesn't make you special. So all that time that you put into this, right? That you put into this, it's no longer like what it used to be. And I get it. I get what people feel lost, feel like, you're like, what's going to happen to my life? What's going to happen to my career? How do I get a job? Do I start looking into the trades? Looking into the trades makes no sense. You're going to switch career to something completely different, starting from scratch. Like, that shit makes zero sense. Whenever I see that shit, I'll be like, yo, you don't know shit. If you're in your head thinking like, yeah, bro, you know what, man? I was a software engineer, but I'm thinking about going to this 9-month program to be a plumber or some shit. Bro, that's a whole different career. And you think that you start at the top as a plumber? No, you got to start at the bottom. When you already have skills, now what you got to do is you got to go with the times. You get what I'm saying? So The trades, going into the trades makes zero sense, especially for people like us. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Okay? What you need to understand is that you have to change. You have to, you can't just be a click clacker. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be like, I just code. That's it. No, I'm gonna need you to understand how the businesses work, right? The business itself work. Okay? You got to bring more to the table. You got to communicate better. You got to come up with ideas. Remember, I always tell you this. A lot of software engineers, they kind of drop the ball on this, and it's because they focus so much on the code and the technical skills, because that's what will get you paid the most, right? But then also too, leaves you lacking of a bunch of other skills that you should have if you paid attention. It's like a guy that goes to the gym and only works his arms, and then he got a small ass leg and a little fucking, Johnny Bravo body. Yeah, you mad diesel on the top, but yo, what happened to leg day, right? Now, me saying that, and I give you all these examples so it could be clear for you to understand how all of this shit can affect you. Now, right now, you got a big ass body, you diesel on the top, but you got little ass legs, okay? Now, for a developer, what does that mean? That means, yeah, you focus so much on the code, right? But you're lacking on everything else. Everything else that's gonna make you special now, because the coding part is no longer special. So how do you make yourself special, right? And stand out? You gotta understand how business works. You gotta understand how design works. You gotta understand how marketing works. You gotta understand how to do research. You gotta understand, how to freaking, come up with ideas. Creativity, right? Creativity. And someone said, well, Joe, I'm creative. I solved this problem with this language, and I made this shit 3 seconds faster or whatever, right? 3 seconds faster. Yeah, but now AI could do that. So where does that leave you? If AI could do that, okay, what you bringing to the table? You know what I'm saying? This is where we're going with this. Okay, this is where we're going with this, right? Now, remember, I was already in the freaking path of doing this AI automations career path, this new version of this new career path that we added to CodingPhase. I've been talking about it in the live streams here and there, right? But this whole conversation, 3-4 hours conversation, like gave me a bigger, a bigger picture of all that's happening. Okay, everything that's happening. Same thing. I got the epiphany, right? The epiphany of 2017. 2017, I created this company because there was a huge problem. How does somebody come and learn how to code? I mean, there were solutions out there. There's Team Treehouse, there's Udemy, there's boot camps, there's college, there's this and that, right? But none of them prepare you for the job. They teach you how to code, but they didn't teach you all of the things you're gonna do on the job. In CodingPhase, we teach you how to code and we simulate all the things you're gonna be doing on the job. And then on top of that, we go in out of our way and we look at where the opportunities is where you have an advantage on. Meaning, I could go in and teach you full stack development and front end development, right? I could have focused just on that on 2017. But one thing that I realized was that doesn't give you an advantage. That puts you in the same spot as the whole zombie horde. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be running around with the zombie hordes, right? Because everybody's doing the same shit. It's the same thing that's happening right now, right? So talking about this, right, and gave me the epiphany is like, right now, we already have all the courses on CodingPhase that you're gonna need. Because another thing too, before I get to the next point, you still need to learn how to code. I don't think if you forgot this part, right? You're not gonna be able to skip this part. This is what I was telling you in the beginning. Every year, to get into a job, to get into this career, you having to go layer by layer by layer. Every year, something new comes out, and it's something new that you need to go and now learn to get into a job. Now, this extra layer is on top of that. But the first layer you still need is a requirement. It's like you want to be a writer, but you don't know the ABCs. You stupid. You can't go in and be like, I'm gonna be a writer, and I'm gonna write stories. New York Times bestsellers, right? And you don't know the ABCs. You don't even know how to fucking read. You're not gonna be able to become a number one, fucking author on the New York Times. It doesn't work like that, right? Unless somebody writes it for you, right? That's a different story, right? You might have a killer story, and a real writer will have to write it for you. But guess what? He knows his ABCs. But if you don't know this shit, you're skipping the step. You're still gonna have to learn how to code, right? But now, like I said, that's where it hit my mind. It's like, yo, I got that epiphany. It's like, yo, we solved the problem of how we go in and help people, regular folks, to get into the industry, right? Gave them the advantage that no one else was giving them, found jobs and opportunities where no one else was talking about. Right now, we are the number one leading online platform when it comes to email development and web administration. There's no other platform better than us. There's a couple of little courses on Udemy, a couple of knickknacks out there. They're not the same level as CodingPhase. Why? Because we're an authority in this field. You know what I'm saying? Again, just like I said the other day, if you go in and you search portfolio for email developer, it all pops up, all students of codingphase.com. Go and do that with anybody else who's teaching email development. That's the difference, right? We are an authority in this shit, right? Because we was the first ones that was really talking about this and really promoting this out there and seeing this opportunity that really helped a lot of people. Now, the next step for us is, how do we go in and help all of these people understand, right? Even if you know how to code already, because remember, you might know how to code, but you're still not ready for this new career, this new way of doing things. And it's understanding every piece of this, okay? Understanding how design works, understanding how business works, understanding how to do research, understanding how to come up with ideas, right? How to validate ideas. You don't have that shit. 99% of you guys don't have that. If you haven't built a startup, you haven't built your own business, you haven't really gotten your hands in every piece of a business, you don't have that. Most people don't. And that's totally fine. That's totally fine, because we was living in a different world before. I have that, and a lot of other entrepreneurs have that, because we had to literally put on multiple hats, right? This is one of the main reasons why I focus so much on e-commerce. And like, I could have went into like the big companies, big fan, Fortune 500, but I wanted to be able to understand all of these pieces. I mean, when I went to school, I could have went for computer science. I got my associates in programming and systems, but I chose to learn, right, communication design for my bachelor's, right? Because I knew from back then that it's important to understand other things other than just the technical side of things. If I just focus just on the technical side of things, then now I'm stuck and I'm doing the same shit as everybody else. When I go to any company, right, there's skills that come with me. Hey, you need me to design something? Guess what? I'm a designer. You need me to edit some videos? Guess what? I know editing, right? Video editing, right? Hey, you need me to build a game? I know how to build games. You need me to build mobile apps? I could build mobile apps, right? And there's a bunch of other shit. I mean, advertisement, marketing, so many different things, like validating ideas, the research part, SEO, like all of this shit is the things that have allowed me to be who I am and have success, right? This is a moment where, remember we used to say, master of all trades, master of none. I think that's how they say it, right? Before, that made sense. That made complete sense, because technically If you want to go in and become really good in something, just focus on that one thing. Right now, that shit is over with, right? What you want to do is you want to be able to be proficient, right? And know enough of a bunch of different topics that's connected to business that's going to help you stand out from everybody else. Jack of all trades, master of none. That's what it is, right? Okay. So before you had to just, hey, I'm just going to zone in on one thing. That shit is over with. You need to know enough of every single thing that touches a business. That's going to help you stand out. That's it. Okay? Somebody said sometimes better than master in one. And that's the truth, right? Because right now, AI, in a sense, is giving us superpowers. But I give you a great example, right? So many engineers right now are buying, like, how you call this shit? The Mac Studios. I mean, go on X. We talked about this in another live stream. So many people are going in, they're buying a Mac Mini, Mac Studio, and they're like, "Hey man, I'm using OpenClaw on this. I'm using Claude Code. I'm using this agent, this, that." But they ain't building shit. It's not me saying it. It's everybody that has built shit and understand how business works. Understand that most of these people, they're not building shit, and they're not gonna be successful because they're missing the other pieces, right? You can go in and say, well, I'm going to just use AI. Like I could go in, I'll give you an example. My boy Angel. Shout out to Angel if you're watching this. What's going on, my guy? Angel's an amazing designer. For the last 4 years, he's been showing me designs that he's done with AI, videos that he's done with AI, right? A bunch of stuff. And I'm really good. I'm really good using AI too. I mean, you've seen a couple of little videos I did, a couple of images, da da da. That's, I'm nice, right? But Angel, Angel makes fucking films. Angel makes images that you be like, what the hell? That is that real? Is that fake? How does he? You see all the little freckles. You see all the. How does he do this? Right? But that's because Angel's a designer. Angel's a photographer. You know what I'm saying? So by him having that knowledge, right, and that skill already, and then using AI, he can use AI to the maximum. It's the same thing for you as a developer. If you know how to code, you can use AI way better than somebody that just goes in on Claude Coding and fucking types, build me $1 million idea. That's what people are just fucking doing. Like, that shit's giving you the most basic shit. It's not giving you a fucking plan. It's not fucking doing anything. Even when you go in and be like, well, build me an advertisement with, a great hook. If you're not a copywriter, if you're not somebody who's actually, we could say a marketer, somebody who comes up with already really good hooks, you won't even know when the AI gives you a good hook. You just pick the first one that sounds cool to you. But because you have that knowledge, you can actually go in and pick the right one. So what I'm saying with that is, in this next stage of our career, because I'm in it, you're in it, right? Maybe you're trying to get in it. You need to understand all of the pieces of what makes a business tick and how you, with your technical skills, can solve problems for all of those all the businesses that's out here from different branches within the company. That's what's gonna make you special. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're gonna be focusing on from now on CodingPhase.com. Because yeah, this is a big deal. It's a big bag for me. You know what I'm saying? It's a big, I'm telling you guys right now, it's a big bag, big bag, right? Because this is what I do. I go in, I make complicated topics, make it simple, right? And make it easier for people to understand. I'm a great teacher, right? Anybody that's taking my courses, y'all know what I'm talking about. You know, a lot of people have gotten jobs because I make this shit look easy. When topics might be complicated or it might be seem a little bit hard, we make it easier for you, right? So this is what I want to go in and focus on for 2026, right? Not just focusing on the code. The code, we have all of that already. We have all those courses. We have all those things. But how do we go in and now teach you all of the things that you need to know as a technical individual from a business? How to build an advertisement, how to go in, do research. Which are the AI tools that you need to use for doing research? How do you validate those ideas, right? How do you go in and set up automations? There's gonna be so many jobs. People's fucking stressed out about fucking jobs. Like, man, there's not gonna be no more fucking jobs. No, stupid. There's gonna be a bunch of jobs because a lot of people. It's like back in the days. Remember, we're in that stage of like when React came out, 2015, 2016. Anybody that was there, y'all know what I'm talking about. You literally, all you needed to do was mention React. You go in and you say, React. And people's like, ooh, React? Yeah, I know React. Oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? If it's an HR, all you hear is a little drip come out. She got excited, right? So, again, yeah, because nobody knew it. The old heads didn't know it. The old heads didn't understand it. They were stuck in their old ways. And us, the young kids, I mean, I'm an old head. You know what I mean? I'm an old head compared to, the young kid coming up right now. But back then, shit, I'm 24, 25, 26 years old, right? 27, whatever age I was at the time. Can't remember. I think it was like maybe 26, 27. Maybe I wasn't that young. But yeah, when it came out, like, it was a wrap. Okay, it was a wrap. And by us knowing just React, it just opened up the doors. Now I'm seeing the same thing, the exact same thing, and got validated. My friend put me on like, yo, you're not wrong on this. It's funny because he's like, yeah, because people like to click clack. I need to get a T-shirt that says that because now people telling me about that. She's like, yeah, bro, I'm not trying to be a click clacker, bro. Like, and it's funny because he was telling me, he's like, yo, I love when you say that. I don't know. Put number one here if you love when I say click clack. Like, I'm not trying to be a click clacker out here. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my son. What's going on? Anything? Yeah. You good? Yeah. Go ahead. Get your ear. I might go on the bike with you too later. But yeah, what I'm saying with this is like, yeah, we gonna double down, triple down on all of this, but doing it differently. So for those of you guys there's a couple of you guys that be watching me and y'all be soaking up the sauce, right? Go ahead, try to soak this one up. Some of you guys can't do this. You code, you know how to code, but you haven't done shit. You haven't built shit. You don't understand the whole scope of the business, right? That's what I'm focusing on now. Because when you go in, somebody says, for example, web administrator, right? Goes in, okay, they're getting their first job, okay? Now they're working at a company. By knowing how to do automations, how to, even generate the images, how to come up with ideas for maybe for the next articles. There's copywriters and people that might not even be needed no more. And the job of the web administrator might just be some dude that orchestrates all the content and all the things that's being shown on the website. This is where we're going. Okay? So by the time this thing is out here and everybody's like, okay, and you're gonna start seeing it. You go in, and I guarantee you, in the next month, right? I already seen it in like email marketing specialist, right? Where you see like, hey, we need you to do emails, but we would love for you to also know how to write copy. We would love for you to be able to know how to use Photoshop and Figma to create the designs for the email. That used to be 3-4 different jobs. Now they're asking for that. Now they're going in. It's like, hey, can you build the emails? Can you build the campaign? Can you build the images? Can you know what I'm saying? Do you even know how to do video editing? Yeah, because we might need you to do some video editing for this advertisement that we have, and we might want to go in and check, the different hooks in the beginning, have multiple hooks. Can you do that for us? Now, you might say, yeah, Joe, I just came in here as an email developer. I thought I was just going to do emails. Well, this is where we're going now. You're going to need to know more than just the quote unquote job title, unfortunately. But the cool thing about it is that this shit is not hard to learn, right? It's just you have to see it in examples so you can understand how all of these things fit together, right? Because, like I said, you don't want to be that person that just go in and be like, well, I'm just going to use Code and I'm just going to tell Code, do this for me. No, you got to know exactly what actually works and how to connect all of these things. In a sense, almost every job, right, you're controlling an orchestra, right? What's the name of the guy? A conductor, right? You're a conductor now for almost every job that you could think of, okay? That's just how it is. You're gonna be a conductor. You're no longer just, hey, I'm a front-end developer. That shit is done. Front-end development, that shit can be done with AI. Now, do you know how to use front-end development to create a landing page that actually converts? And then from there, how you gonna go and work with Google Tag, Facebook Pixels, right? How you gonna go in and have the attribution of this campaign? How you keeping track of that? What tools are you using to? You see where we going? It's a lot of little steps that the average person doesn't know. And I know it sounds complicated. It sounds like it's a lot of shit. It's like, God damn it, we got to learn a bunch of shit now. I know that shit is scary. But this is where, for me, my biggest, how can I say this? My biggest challenge is going to be, how do I go in and make all of these things that you're going to need? How do we condense it and make it simple so you can do whatever situation, whatever task is being thrown at you, and you know how to solve it, how to choose the right tool, how to use the right LLM for it. How do you do this? And this is the things that's going to make you different. This is what's going to, be the future. I mean, we're here now. Shout out to everybody here. I know we just talked for like an hour, 52 minutes. I'm excited. Okay, you saw me today earlier. If you saw my video with the vest on, that was just a little video for me just to laugh. But this is the meat of it, of today's topic, right? We're going all in with AI, right? And like I said, my sometimes, how can I say this? Sometimes, like, I look for validation, even though I know I'm right. But it also feels good when somebody that's really up there validates the same shit that you've been saying, and it's like, yo, you're right. You're actually right, but you're missing this, because he's seeing it from his company, right? He's seeing it from his company, right? They did some layoffs, and there's reasons why they're doing the layoffs. This is something like, again, I didn't really pay attention to this part of it, of like, and I talked about it a little bit earlier. You know, in a sense, I have the idea of like, okay, people getting laid off because they overhired in the pandemic, and that was one of the problems. But the main problem is budget wise. It's not, hey, we're laying people off because you know we're using AI and so much productive, or hey, we hire a bunch of people. It's the budget. It's the budget. It's literally the budget. A lot of these companies are opening up their budgets to be able to go in and be able to double down, triple down on AI, because everybody is using AI now. Every company. If you're a company that's not using AI, you're getting left behind. I'll give you an example, something simple, right? Let's say Nike. Nike right now has a new sneaker coming out. Usually what they would do is you got Nike, you got what's the name of this company? Puma. I don't know who wears Pumas, right? But there's Pumas, right? Nike comes out and says, "Hey, we're dropping this new sneaker," but Puma also dropping a sneaker. Now, Nike has a team of experts of designers, right, marketers that have been tried and tested, okay? But Puma have a pretty decent team, maybe not at the level of Nike, but Puma's using AI. So the level of productivity that they can do for this one campaign, for this one sneaker, right, is 10 times, 20 times, 100 times more than Nike. If all of their employees at Nike are doing everything themselves, they're not using AI for the videos, for the ads, for not using AI to create and automate all of the different ads that's gonna be on Facebook, on TikTok. They're not using AI to analyze which ones are the ones performing the best, right? But Puma's gonna win. You understand that? Puma's gonna win, even though they might not have the best product, but because Puma's using AI more efficiently, they'll win the business. Even if they don't take the whole business of Nike, they'll take a big chunk of it. So now all of these companies are, in a sense, in this like the Cold War, where it's like, they all have to do this shit. They all have to lay people off because they have to open up that budget. They have to open up that budget so they could go in and use all of these AI tools, right? And even, some companies, they're building infrastructure. They're like companies like Meta, freaking Google, etc. Like, they're building the infrastructure, but all the other companies that's not building the infrastructure, they're opening up the budgets for them to be able to use these services. Chato Valenzuela says, "I got some Pumas, bro." I don't know, bro. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know about no Pumas, bro. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so that's just how it is. But that's a very very important side of the industry that I was not really paying attention to, in a sense. I really, like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, you know, it's because people got laid off, a lot of them, because you know a lot of people got hired in the pandemic. But I wasn't really thinking of, like, budget wise, and that's what he broke down to me. It's like, bro, it's budget. All of these tools cost money. Okay, all of these tools cost money. You know, I mean, some of us that have gotten our electric bills, we know the electric bills went up. But these companies, they're gonna have to use this thing because it's like if everybody's on steroids, you gotta be using steroids to win. You know what I'm saying? Barry Bonds came in, then Sammy Sosa, then Mark McGuire. Everybody doing steroids. Barry Bonds is the first one doing steroids like crazy. They're like, all right, bro, we gotta compete. BZ said, how will this lead to more jobs? Okay, there's gonna be new jobs, but there's gonna be people that will struggle. Ain't no way around it. Okay, ain't no way around it. It's the same way how, you know, there's a guy right now making $100,000 as a developer, and there's a guy doing an Uber right now, doing freaking Amazon deliveries right now, and he making maybe $100 a day. But there's a guy somewhere in San Francisco making $700, $800 a day, $500 a day. That's just how life is. Ain't no way around it, right? But this is where, you know, some of you guys gotta understand. Yeah, you're gonna have to invest in yourself. If everybody doing fucking steroids, you're gonna have to do steroids too. You like it or not. And this is not the moment to be cheap. This is not the moment where you'll be like, man, I want to use these tools, but man, that's $10, per month. Man, that's $20 per month. Man, I want to sign up to CodingPhase.com, but bro, that's $30. Bro, you're gonna have to invest. You like it or not. You either do it with me or you do it with this LLM or this other LLM. You're gonna have to invest because the people that invest in themselves is the ones that's gonna win. You could be that guy, but like, yeah, bro, I'm using Llama 3 on open source on my computer. It's like, all right, bro. There's a dude paying that 200 max on Claude Sonnet. You know what I'm saying? You can't compete with that guy now. Unfortunately, is this is like a video game in a sense, pay to win type shit. You know what I mean? It's like pay to win now. Some people that they're gonna get left behind. There's people that, bro. There's people that wouldn't even buy themselves a course. I mean, you've seen it on the fucking comments when you see some random fucking loser be like, "Yeah, bro, I'm on YouTube, bro. I'm not paying for shit. I'm watching tutorials on YouTube." I'm like, this poor fuck. He don't understand that he's wasting more time making mistakes, and watching free tutorial, and then at the end of the day, not getting no results. While there's a dude that comes in and says, "Well, I got $30. Let me go and go through this course, go through this thing. Boom, skip the whole thing. You don't have to do no research. We already did that for you. We already know exactly what is getting people hired. We know exactly what people need. $30." But you might want to say, "I'm doing this shit the freeway, bro. I got Llama 3 installed on my computer locally." If you think like that, this is not you're not gonna end up well, bro. I'm telling you right now. And again, I'm telling you because I care. I don't care if you come to codingphase.com. Codingphase.com, we solve problems for individuals that want to get hired. Okay? Shit comes with a price, comes with a service. Whoever wants it, they take it. You want to be here for 6 months, a year, trying it on your own time, go ahead. This other person's willing to go in and pay the $30. I don't care, right? I'm not in the business of convincing you to do something good for you. Like, that's not the business I'm in. But it's the same shit with AI tools. You're gonna have to spend money, right? There's too many tools that's out here that, of course, you don't have to have like a crazy subscription. Like, well, I'm signed up to ChatGPT. I'm signed up to fucking uh, Claude. I'm signed up to Kimi K2. I'm signed up to fucking Open Router. You signed up to like a million things. No, you don't have to do that. What you do is, as you need to use certain tools, you go and you pay for it. That's the best way to save money because it does get expensive. If you go in and start using every tool, right, and say, "I'm going to try every tool and I'm going to pay for it, I'm going to sign up to the subscription." It's like, no, this is where you got to go in and you got to manage yourself. Hey, this month I need to go in and generate X amount of images. Boom. Let me sign up for Hicksfield. Hicksfield gives me access to Nano Banana, gives me access to Cling 3, gives me access to this, and that, all of these tools. Seed Dance, cool. When I don't need it, I cancel it. And I can always come back. And sometimes some of these companies might give you even a deal. Might say, "Hey man, if you don't cancel, right, we might give it to you an extra 50% off. So you was paying $20, now you pay $10, right? Because they don't want you to leave. But again, the best way to do it is like you're gonna have to manage your subscriptions, right? But you will need a lot of them. You just gotta go in and manage, you know, how you use them. Another thing too that's cool that I'm seeing right now in some jobs is that there's companies that's giving a budget to their employees of the tools that they could use. So let's say, for example, you might have $100, $200 budget that the company will pay for you to use all of these tools. Same way how, in a similar way, because what's the company that has PHP Storm? JetBrains. JetBrains is a company that creates text editors and things like that for different languages, right? Anybody that has used something like that, like JetBrains, you know, JetBrains, like what's the name? Damn, it's PHP Storm. There's another one that they have that I like Ruby Mine. There was another one that I used to have from them. But those text editors compared to VS Code, they're way out there. They're way better, but they're expensive. But developers that use those tools, the company pays for it. It's the same thing if you use like Jira, you use, most of the tools from Atlassian, right? There's some tools that they have that's free, but at a certain level, like the company pays for it. And that's what's going to happen with a lot of these LLMs. There's going to be a budget for you. But when you're learning these tools, there's nobody's giving you that budget. It's the same shit when you go in, you be like, well, let me invest in myself and buy a $10 domain to make me look more professional than me actually going in and having a fucking GitHub page. Like we're in 2026 and you're still sending people to Lil Billy 23 HD dot GitHub pages slash portfolio one. Motherfucker, invest $10 and get yourself a domain. Like it's $10. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be the same thing. You know what I mean? Ben Smith said, "Run that student discount. Find a way." Yeah, you're gonna have to invest, bro. You like it or not? This is steroids, man. This shit is steroids, and the people that's taking it, they're gonna look nice out here. The people that's not, it's gonna be a different story. You know what I mean? But it's up to you if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, then don't complain. I don't want to see you on TikTok crying. You know what I'm saying? Like if you be like, man, yeah, bro, I'm not learning new AI tools. Man, I'm not, signing up to CodingPhase. I'm not learning this shit from this guy, or hey, I'm not learning from this other guy. Yeah, bro, keep doing deliveries, bro, and keep it moving because you're the one that don't want to invest in yourself. Guess what? Don't eat that hamburger. Don't fucking. If you eating hamburgers every fucking day, guess what? Buy yourself a fucking couple of breads, make your sandwich at home, and then now you have an extra budget for yourself because you're gonna have to do it. You like it or not. If you wanna win, you have to invest in yourself. It reminds me of like when I was like first starting learning how to code, getting into all of this shit. You know, I didn't even fucking have a job, but somehow I still was paying for my education. I still was paying for domain. I wasn't one of these bum ass dudes that's like, yeah, bro, I'm using Heroku. Nah, I went out of my fucking pocket and I'll invest, right, to go in and pay the $8 that the Heroku Dino one costs, right? So when somebody comes to my website loads, and my website is a domain. It cost me $10 for the whole fucking year, and it cost me $8 for people to go and see my fucking website. And it makes me feel professional. And it makes me look professional. Because guess what? Somebody that cares. Somebody that's looking to show, hey, my website's fast. My website, look at the work that I did. That was me without even fucking being in this career. I just came in with that mindset. If you don't have that mindset, this game is not for you no more. You know what I'm saying? That dude is like, yeah, bro, I'm on YouTube, yo. Like, I'm only doing YouTube, bro. Nobody's gonna go in. The people that really know how to move out here, they're not putting fucking free content on YouTube, bro. I'm telling you right now. That's why I go in every time. When I want to learn something new, I go in, I pay for it. When I go in and I go to the source. If I want to learn basketball and I could afford Michael Jordan, I'm paying for Michael Jordan. I'm not gonna go in and be like, yeah, man, I'm gonna learn from this random dude in a fucking random backyard, and he's showing me on YouTube how to do this and how to fucking shoot the ball. And it's like, bro, but it cost me $20 to go and fucking learn from Michael Jordan on masterclass.com. Why wouldn't I go in and pay for that shit, right? But that's just me. Again, but I'm super excited about this, guys. Um, I think this is gonna be, you know, it's a game changer. And I love it because for me, it's like I don't know. I feel like this is what I've been preparing for. You get what I'm saying? Like, why did I learn all of the skills? Why did I fucking become an entrepreneur? Why did I go into this space? Like, why? I could have just went in and just focused on one specific skill and just completely mastered that one. Now the game changed, and it validates individuals like myself, where it's like, hey, you was actually right. You need to learn all of these extra things. That's what makes you really, in a sense, like be able to be special in a sense. Because everybody just knows one thing. But when you know multiple things, and then now with AI, it just helps you out. You know what I mean? We about to get out of here before this phone dies. Let me see who's in here. So hopefully you guys watch this whole live stream. Watch it. Again, you could go and watch it. You cannot watch it. You could put the replay. I don't care. I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to put you on, right? There's an emergency live stream, right? We talked about a lot of good topics. We talked about what's going on with AI. We talked about, you know, what happened with, with people getting laid off, right? And I got it from the source. I got it from, when I'm telling you guys, this is not some bum ass dude. This is not some random dude. This is a dude that I know for years. But that's the cool thing about, I don't know. I love the fact that people like me. I love the fact that people when I go in and like if you ever work with me, like I I don't have nobody that can say, yo, I don't like this guy. Right? Like everybody that has worked with me in some type of way, like they like who I am, how I was at the job, and and it's funny because people still see you. Like there's people here that watch you on YouTube. On you, I don't know. Everybody calling me right now, guys. Let me see. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I'm about to get out of here, man. Let me see. Reading through here, I agree no need for junior uh, unless they're coming like Ivy League company. Yep. Europe. I've been training forex. Been MIA. Eric Williams is like yo. Let me see. CodingPhase emergency. What up, folks? I'm just reading through the chat, guys. Is web administrator still easy to get in or no? Yes, you could still get in. Don't get scared of a lot of stuff that we talked about. What I'm saying is you have to learn more than just how to code. But even for web administrator, like that window's still open, but there are things people are asking for, bro. It's not just me. Start looking at the jobs, man. Search generative AI, search automation, search NAM, Maker, search Zapier, right? Those are the keywords that will let you know they need you to do more than just the job title. Okay? Let me see, Eric. I'm just reading through here. Joe been saying this for years. Job stacking, and now this is the era of meshing all those skills. Yep. Now you need to be AI heavy knowledge wise, though, right? Yes, the AI cloud DevSecOps engineer, the AI cloud DevSecOps engineer. Word. Shout out to my boy, Bayless Code. Now Geo Maverick. But you're always gonna be Bayless Code to me, bro. Raymond Lowe says so. Positions like email development, marketing specialist, web administrator, obsolete. No, guys, I think you don't understand what I told. Watch the whole live stream, bro. They're not obsolete. Those are not junior positions. What I'm saying with that is you have to go in and learn more things on top of it. Like if you learn email development, now you need to learn how to create the copy for the email, how to create the images for the email, how to come up with the campaigns, how to do A/B testing. Do you understand that? Does that make sense? Let me see. I agree. Enterprise deals where there are no limits on AI usage costs. Hey Joe, do you have some productivity tools? What tools are you using? Wait, seriously, the place to go all in AI. Bet I love AI. Job not equal freedom. Email development. I'm just reading through the chat. Email development web administrator is obsolete. I don't understand it. No, it's not obsolete. This is why it's so important for me to do this type of videos and help you guys out. Help you guys out because you see how I could say something that a lot of you guys understood, but then half of the audience also too don't understand what I was saying. Why are you doing that? Oh, okay. JetBrain tools might be resource heavy though. I might need a better metaphor. Let me see. Yeah, guys, it's been a great live stream. Definitely we'll stay in contact, guys. I'm about to get out of here. Like I said, watch the live stream all over again. If you're a little bit confused, if you're lost on what I was trying to tell you, watch it again. It will make sense. Okay? Watch it again. Trust me. Okay? Take care, guys.